Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be looking at Lara Fabian's Je suis mon coeur, which translates into I follow my heart. That's at least according to Google Translate. If there's a different translation, please let me know. But I'm very interested to get into this. I haven't done a Lara Fabian video in a little bit, so I do want to get back into the swing of things. Please feel free to comment below. This is your space to comment on things. This is a blind reaction, so if you find things that I missed, please feel free to fill that in. If you could also fill in any context clues that I might not have picked up on during the course of the song, please feel free to use the comment section below to do that, and also to just touch base with the rest of the Lara Fabian fans out there. So with that, I'm going to begin, and here we are.
J'ai peur que ça ne les mange, que ça recommence. J'ai peur d'oublier le mal que ça fait. Comme une revanche sur le manque et l'absence. Vers 5 heures du soir, quand le ciel s'en va. Même si ça dérange, ma vie est le bon sens. Je ne peux pas m'en passer comme ça.
Before she gets too far, again, this is Lara Fabian that we're talking about here, so there is nothing to critique about how she sings. She is always impeccable. The thing that I always look for is the stuff that I wish I could do or could have done back in the day, because had I known that she existed, I'd have tried to emulate her technique and a lot of what I was doing. But one of the things that I'm drawn to here is her ability to have a very strong head voice presence. When she belts, especially in the earlier part of her career, it's very chesty and very heavy and very, I mean, all of the belts, it's by nature, a belt is very powerful, but I like the vulnerability in the head voice here. Now, again, I don't have subtitles, and sadly, I don't speak French, so I do want you guys to help me out there a little bit. I'll find the lyrics later, but what I really love about this is her tone, the very light head voice tone, and also her stage presence. The thing that again, and I really love this about her, that I wish a lot of performers would get, is that ability to draw people in. And she uses that opening she uses a lot of the downward crunching of her body to bring herself into herself, so that we're watching her have a conversation with herself, and then she looks out to the audience to attach to them. And so her ability to navigate the stage and to understand her place on it, or her character's place on it, and her ability to disassociate herself, Lara Fabian, from this person that she is portraying, is something that, again, a lot of artists, it's even tough to really pinpoint somebody even in the history of music that did this very well, consistently. I'm going to back up because I know the violin just began there. This piano guy, and he's more than a piano guy, I'm assuming he's a musical director. I want to know a little bit more about his history with her, because even going all the way back to when I saw the Je t'aime video live at Paris, One of he's been around for a really long time, and I really appreciate how in sync they are. The reason that I bring this up is that they can anticipate when she's going to end a phrase when it's being dragged out a little bit, like for artistic effect, and they just know when they're going to end everything, and that's something that is really great in an artistic group, is to actually be able to symbiotically work together to bring out the most, so that when they are in sync, they end their phrases together, they move to the next section together, they do everything together. And so I'm going to go back a little bit and let's see if we can find that spot where this came out really strongly.
Je suis
go back to that a little bit. Always Lara is quintessentially a master at dynamics, and she understands her voice well enough. Again, she's been trained for, I mean, this is all she's done since she was probably, I believe, 8, if I'm not mistaken. She understands her voice so deeply that she knows how soft she can make a note and how high she can go with that same intensity. And so, like here, where she flew all the way up on that very, very small, tiny note, it was effortless for her because she understands her voice, and it wasn't strained. It was well executed. And again, keep in mind, she's in front of a whole group of people. This is live. And she's able to understand her voice, and this is why training is so important. This is why understanding your voice, this is why doing all those scales and all those exercises are really important, because of these moments here where she can focus all of her attention on the emotion of the song and the emotion of the phrase and the emotion of the word, not on whether or not she's tilted her cartilages in the right spot in order to get to the right place. And that is true of any profession. Plumbers who know how to use exactly the tool that they need to use at the right time and are able to not, and don't have to think about what they're doing with pipes and toilets and sinks and showers and stuff like that. They're going to go faster and they're going to get more done, and they're going to make more money than those who don't. In the same way that Lara Fabian is still being talked about today, and she's still touring, she's still doing work, she's still as strong as she was when she was in her 20s and 30s, because she understands her voice well enough to continue and make the modifications necessary to ensure that her voice lasts until the day she dies. So I'm going to continue, and we can listen to that note again, because I think that's really important. Just listen to how soft she gets, but in the higher part of her register. And that's something that I always find amazing about her, is her understanding of her own voice.
que ça me démange.
Okay, I apologize. I should have paused it earlier. That crescendo, that I guess other people call that the messa di voce, the growth and the shrinking of that particular note. It's intentional, and if you watch her face, the reason that I reacted to that was that you could tell that that was the only thing that she was thinking about, and whatever emotion was along with it, she was invested in that note and the emotion of the note completely. And so that's why I got hyper focused on it.
J'ai peur que ça me démange, que ça recommence. Quand le bonheur est là, tout cassé pour toi.
I like the vocalese part of this section here where she's just using vowels and consonants to move herself through this section and to continue the sort of emotional following or journey that she's going on. I don't know. I don't have the French in front of me, but and I don't have a translation in front of me, so I'm just I always like how she creates the drama out of the whole thing, and like in her Yentl medley, how she uses the stage. I really appreciate her for her freedom on stage, the ability for her to meander about and just be free about the fact that she's a performer. This is her stage. This is her box that she gets to play in, and it's not just this 4x4 square feet of space that she has. It's the entire space, so she can walk around and she can use that space to help reinforce the message of the song. So I'm gonna go back. I also like the cinematography in here where they're melding all three performers together.
Je suis mon cœur. Je suis mon cœur. Je suis mon cœur.
Okay, I'm gonna find a better spot. Yes, I'm not. Okay, well, let me come back here. There we go. That'll work. Again, the great thing about Lara from a performer standpoint is that she's very good at teaching us how to actually be citizens of the stage, so that when we take on a song or take on a performance, we have to own that performance, the whole thing, whatever it entails, wherever it takes you. You just do. And so in this particular song here, she follows her heart. So that will take her across the stage. That will take her up onto that pedestal. That will take her to make a vocalese in the middle of it. That will allow her to just do just vowels and consonants and no real words, and keep searching, and it gives you that freedom. And so one of the things that artists should take away from her, and other reactors who are actually trying to become part of the performance world, if they're trying to become active real performers on stages doing stuff, this is the person you want to watch, and this is the person that you want to emulate, because her freedom on stage and her lack of constraints is a thing that people should take away from this. The vocal part, that is training, that is hours in the practice room, but comfortability on stage is something that you can only do by giving yourself that freedom and actually just going there and getting comfortable with it. And I'm speaking not necessarily from a lot of experience, but I do remember, and this is a scary moment for me. On opening night of a play, the director came in, or the musical director, or the assistant director, someone came in and redesigned, like flipped the entire set. So the couch that was on stage left was now on stage right, and all the chairs were completely opposite. And we were supposed to adapt to the new surroundings, which was almost impossible because we had programmed ourselves to do it one particular way. That flexibility is something we hadn't learned yet. And I think that no matter which stage that she would go on, no matter where the piano is positioned, she'd still be able to take on her role and be able to play the part irrespective of where everything else was. And that's something that good performers should take away from this, is that everything else can happen if you're not thinking about your singing. And that's the other part. And I guess I got all sidetracked there. But the fact that she's been so well trained across the board, she doesn't have to worry about anything. Her job is to create this scene and to sell that scene through her music. And I just really appreciate that. So I've gone on a little bit longer on this one. This is actually a really longer video than I'm used to. Over the Christmas holidays, everything has been sort of very short. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, because her ability to own the stage is really something that I've always been enamored by. And the fact that she has such a strong command over her voice means that that's one less thing that she has to worry about. And spend your hours in the vocal studio doing your scales and whatever other activities you have to do to get your voice on autopilot, because she's always on autopilot with her voice. She never has to worry about it, plus or minus an illness, but even then she knows what to do, most likely. So I'm going to leave it at that. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys. Please comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I do appreciate you stopping by today. And with that, I'm going to let you guys go and enjoy your day, night, weekend, wherever you are in time and space. And as always, be safe.